Let's jump right in. Today, we're looking at the ultimate Ben 10 multiplying machine, Ditto.
So, what happens when one Ben Tennyson just isn't enough? Obviously, he needs some instant backup.
I mean, let's be real. Haven't we all wished we could just clone ourselves to get more done? Maybe send one to work, one to do the chores, and keep one comfortably on the couch watching TV. Well, that brings us to the ultimate sci-fi fulfillment of that fantasy. But in the world of Ben 10, Ditto isn't just about being in two places at once to finish the laundry. He's about deploying limitless numbers across the battlefield, literally popping up in as many places as you can possibly imagine. So, Ditto is actually the Omnitrix's DNA sample of a Splixson. These guys are a fascinating species hailing all the way from the planet Hathor. And their whole deal? Their key biological mechanic is binary fission. Now, this isn't some kind of magic trick. It's actually rapid cellular division, just scaled way up to a macroscopic level, which lets the Splixson replicate their entire physical form in an absolute flash. Picture this. He's relatively small, standing roughly the height of an average human kid, rocking this totally distinct black and white kind of overall looking design. Oh, and those 3 fin-like growths on his head. But here's where it gets really cool. The most vital part of his anatomy are those gem-like extended sensory nodes on his arms and waist. Those aren't just for show. They literally store the protoplasmic DNA he needs to churn out those clones. They are basically biological fuel tanks for his duplication. Get ready for a fun word. Mimicikinesis. That's the official term for this power. Dr. Anima once described it as limitless cloning capabilities. And honestly, the guy wasn't exaggerating. Ditto can literally pump out an endless army. But how do they not just stumble over each other? Well, those sensory nodes we just talked about, they actually help create a massive sensory web. It acts like this giant hive mind communication network, keeping the whole chaotic army perfectly coordinated. But hey, don't go thinking he's a one-trick pony. Ditto's actually packing a surprising amount of utility. He's got enhanced durability, tough enough to take direct hits from mutant hybrids. Plus, he's incredibly agile. We're talking jumping high enough to slam dunk a basketball, which, considering his size, no way, that's wild. Toss in the fact that he can rapidly burrow underground and even breathe underwater, and you've got yourself a highly adaptable terrestrial and aquatic scout.
Fighting a mutated seagull, Dr. Animo exploited this big time by capturing just one single clone.
Because, every great power has a catch. Ditto's physical limits create a pretty distinct hierarchy of threats. At the medium level, he just has really poor resistance to extreme cold. Worse than that, his fragile physical form makes him super susceptible to electricity, a high-level weakness that Dr. Animo definitely took brutal advantage of. But the absolute worst, the extreme threat, that goes to the Penuntian. It's this terrifying predatory beast that can also clone itself, entirely wiping out Ditto's one major tactical advantage. Just brutal. And it simply cannot change him back into Ben until all the duplicates gather close together again. This absolutely drains the Omnitrix's power. It seriously risks a timeout that leaves Ben completely exhausted and totally vulnerable when he finally reverts. So as we wrap up this explainer, looking at all the awesome data we've covered today, you kind of have to ask yourself a big strategic question. Does the incredible reward of a limitless, independent hive mind army actually outweigh the severe physical risks? The extreme electrical vulnerability, those terrifying natural predators, and the massive threat of an Omnitrix timeout. It's a gamble every single time Ben dials up the Splixson. Definitely keep that in mind the next time you find yourself wishing you could be in 2 places at once. Thanks so much for hanging out with me on this Deep Dive Focused Learners, and stay curious.
Want more epic breakdowns, power scales, and pop culture battles? Hit subscribe and join the short and summary squad.